Good evening and happy Mother's Day, and thank you for joining us tonight at 5:30. I'm Sarah Horbacewicz. Now, Mother Nature also celebrated the holiday and gave us a break from all that rain, but will it continue is the question. Here to answer that question is Corrales Ortiz. Corrales, you got good news for us?
Yeah, last week was a little bit more soggy. This weekend has been pretty nice. Matter of fact, besides a little spotty shower or two, we've been generally dry, seeing a little more of that sunshine. Still been pretty toasty out there, and it continues to do so as of this evening. But yeah, happy Mother's Day. Some great weather in store if you continue to have plans for this evening. It's sitting at 89 right here in the metro, but of course factor in that humidity. It feels like it's in the low 90s. It feels like it's 95 right now in Searcy. Most areas sitting in the mid to upper 80s across the region, but as you can see, northwest Arkansas feels like they're actually sitting in the 70s right now. We're seeing a very slow moving frontal boundary, but in the meantime, we're seeing just a few pop-up showers to our west, and that will continue to stay mainly to our west. We're expected to stay dry this evening, which is great for any Mother's Day plans. We are going to continue to stay warm, though, mainly in the 80s up until the 9 o'clock hour, with lows in the upper 60s for tonight. Here's what I'm tracking in the forecast. A hot and humid day for our Monday, but we do have some less humid days in store, along with some cooler temperatures. So I'll have those details coming up.
We're continuing to follow a story we brought to you last night of an elementary student who was run over by his school bus Friday afternoon. The child is now back home after spending the last 2 days in the hospital. Tonight, THV 11's Jalissa Garza joins us in studio with more details. Jalissa?
Yeah, Sarah, some good news for the Edgar family tonight, as 5-year-old Dawson Edgar is home after having multiple surgeries. According to his dad, Christopher, Dawson had one surgery to stop the bleeding of his injuries and a second surgery on his femur, which was broken from being ran over by that school bus. It happened on West Hensley Road. According to police, when the bus stopped to let kids off, multiple students ran out. The driver, though, thought all the children were clear, but Dawson had fallen down. Again, good news tonight. He was released from Arkansas Children's Hospital earlier today, but there's still a long road to recovery ahead.
He's got to come back 6 months later and have another surgery to remove the plate. So it's going to be a year's worth of recovery.
Family members have set up a GoFundMe to help with expenses. Dawson's family says although it's been a difficult few days, the 5-year-old is in good spirits. Pulaski County Special School District releasing a statement saying their thoughts and prayers are going out to the family tonight, and police are still investigating the incident. Sarah?
All right, thank you, Jalissa. New tonight, Little Rock police are investigating a homicide. This while agencies across central Arkansas are searching for suspects wanted in separate murders. Let's begin in Little Rock, where police say 2 people were found shot near Chico Road and Mableville Cutoff. One of the victims is dead, the other in critical condition. If anyone has information, you're asked to call police. Remember, you can stay anonymous. In North Little Rock, 1 person is dead after a shooting at a motel on Pritchard Road. Police tell us there is an active homicide investigation, but are not identifying the victim until they can get in touch with the family. Plus, the U.S. Marshal's Office is looking for 2 people, 29-year-old Brendan Brewer and 17-year-old Jacavian Harrell. They're considered armed and dangerous. Brewer is wanted for a felony possession of a firearm, and Harrell has been charged with capital murder by the Little Rock police. Officials say they should be considered dangerous, and you should call 911 if you see them. New information tonight as border officials closely monitor changes following the end of Title 42. They say the numbers are promising, but as Christian Benavides reports, they warn it could be too early to know if the trend will continue.
In Brownsville, Texas, migrants are seen waiting at this bus station. They're among the lucky who made it into the U.S. Tens of thousands of people are crowded in Mexico waiting to enter. Still, the large wave of migrants so many cities were bracing for hasn't materialized.
The United States Border Patrol has experienced a 50% drop in the number of encounters versus what we were experiencing earlier in the week, before Title 42 ended.
Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas says that number went from over 10,000 encounters to 6,300 on Friday and about 4,200 on Saturday.
We have communicated very clearly a vitally important message to the individuals who are thinking of arriving at our southern border.
But along border towns, holding facilities are bursting at the seams. Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez represents El Paso.
In this particular facility, it's meant to house 1,000 people. It's housing over 3,000. In one of these rooms, it's meant the max capacity is 90 people. There was over 400 in here. That's a 450% capacity. We can't allow not that bad to be the normal.
Humanitarian efforts are underway to help the asylum seekers from California to New York and Colorado, where their next steps remain uncertain. Cristian Benavides, CBS News.
Heads up to Arkansas drivers. An already congested part of Saline County is getting more closures next week. The ongoing construction to widen Interstate 30 to 6 lanes will require 2 ramp closures. But there is some good news. These changes will all be overnight. Tuesday and Wednesday, crews will close the I-30 East ramp to Highway 70 and the 70 ramp to I-30 East. The closures will happen between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. Crews will be hanging overhead signs on the bridge above the ramps, so that'll require full ramp closures. Everything should be finished and opened by Thursday morning, weather permitting. Turning now to one of the most viewed stories on THV11.com this week. Remembering different passwords can be a challenge, but a good password could be what stands between you and someone hacking into your home. One Searcy family thought their password was strong until a stranger was able to speak directly to their baby through their baby monitor. Like so many families, the striplings used a Wi-Fi baby monitor to keep an eye on their child.
For the last month, he has been waking up around 10:30 every single night, and we just never really thought anything of it.
What they never expected, someone else was too.
It was at the corner of the room, pointing down at the bed, and the same night that I found him whispering to Marshall, it was around the room, pointing around the room, and then went right back to him.
Stephanie immediately unplugged the monitor, but the problem actually was coming through their Wi-Fi router.
I felt so violated. We found tons of users previously signed in. I've blocked all of those. I have a list of them, and
a lot of foreign devices.
A lot of foreign devices.
We don't use.
Tech expert Stephen Addison at UCA says, sadly, the problem is more common than you think.
I'm never surprised because most people aren't aware of of how vulnerable the systems are.
But he says there are ways to protect yourself.
Keep it updated, change those passwords, and don't allow the remote access.
Though nothing is guaranteed, so the striplings have switched to an offline monitor, hoping other parents take a closer look at their systems.
Honestly, I want to burn it. We're not going to be using them whatsoever, and I can't resell it because I can't trust anyone.
Now, after a quick break, we're continuing to celebrate mothers. This incredible feat that landed this mother-daughter duo in the record books when we return. Corrales?
Yeah, it was a beautiful forecast for today, and we'll continue to stay pretty toasty for at least one more day before we see some relief from the heat and the excessive humidity. The details on that coming up.